What's up, everybody? Good morning and welcome in to the Ospreay Media Podcast for Thursday, May 8th, 2025. How's it going? Thanks for being here. I am your host, Zach Haydorn, and that is your other host, Tyler Sage. Tyler, we're a bit earlier today than normal on Thursdays, but, that's all right. It's good to keep things fresh and to keep you listeners on your toes. What's going on, man?
Hey, pretty good. I would have gotten the cardigan memo. I would have obliged, but we're both
It's
different attires.
It's freezing cold in my house. Because it's like warm outside where the heat's not kicking on, but it's cold outside enough where it's still cold. So
yeah, I wonder if this is like just a Midwestern thing. Well, this is the time of year where we refuse to like turn on the heat or the air conditioning, no matter what. And it's like, hey, it's going to be like 48 tonight. Like, well, get a blanket.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm not turning that heat on.
The heat is not on.
Yeah.
And I could easily turn it on, but I'm just like, whatever. I got this sweater. Yeah. I'm wearing it. It's fine. And soon it'll be the air conditioning, but that's
soon it'll be 90 degrees for
soon. It's coming. It's coming. But for now, it's weird. It's bizarre weather times. Thanks for being here, everybody. If you're tuning in on the YouTube channel, hello. Thanks so much for joining. If you would do us a favor and like this video and maybe drop a comment in if you so oblige. It helps us out in the YouTube algorithm so we can get seen by more people. So thank you in advance for that. If you are joining us on X and you're catching us for the first time on the RVD Twitter, thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you stick around. It's awesome to talk to new people. So thank you. Let's we're getting into more business a little bit later here, but I do have the live chat open. So if you're listening live and you want to join into the show, jump on in there. Super chats are open as well if you are able to make a contribution. More on Ospreay Media and Ospreay Media membership and our newsletter in a little bit. But last night, Tyler, AEW Dynamite, I felt so good about the babyface versus babyface promo between Adam Page and Will Ospreay to start the show. Like, I thought that was an awesome promo. I thought that, Page in particular was really good because he kind of like owned all the bad stuff that he did, in the last, year. He talked about, oh man, it's been a down year and a half, like, and this is why, and Swerve, and I'm never going to forgive him, but I do need to put it past me. It's like all reasonable things that a babyface would say. And then you had Will Ospreay come out and also just be a babyface, but also like a competitive babyface. And I just thought that AEW got that interaction right ahead of the Double or Nothing showdown for the Owen Hart Cup finals. And I thought they elevated that match. They elevated the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. They elevated the stakes with how they talk to each other. Now, there was one little piece at the end of this whole thing that worries me, but the promo itself, man, I don't think they've gotten babyface versus babyface right too often. But I think they started this off on a very, very strong footing. And props to both guys and the booking of it. So I really thought they had this match in a good place. What'd you think of that opening promo between those two?
Mm-hmm. If I can have some patented Tyler jokes in here to start.
Always.
I just really wish they would have like had a match, and then like someone would have like caused it to be a DQ finish. I thought that would have really helped everything out tremendously. But no, I digress. We'll compare and contrast. I will throughout the show here. It was good. I liked it a lot, and I like that the result is pretty much not in question for who's going to win this match. But they have done enough groundwork of the relationship between Page and Swerve, where Moxley is a guy who screwed over Swerve pretty recently, and if like Page and him have buried the hatchet, you can see like him wanting to like Swerve being there in Page's corner for him to win against Moxley as like a dark horse winner of this match. Like, it's not outside the realm of possibility that Adam Page wins this match, which is pretty good for an AEW story.
Yeah.
So I think you give credence to that. Yeah, I mean, I thought throughout the night Will Ospreay was also very like locked in as like I want to be the guy. I want to act like I'm the guy. And that's like a booking mechanism choice of not being in a 4-way, $400,000 match or an 8-man
Yes.
match and interacting. I assume we'll talk about him in MVF later. But so I thought he, still needs to like get to that level of like a top guy in his presentation, but he's trying. And I thought it was a good attempt and overall pretty good. And yeah, Paige, everything you laid out is very important. And it's kind of connecting the dots on, it just reminded me of like the run of him leading up to winning the title, where there were like people like us who were like connecting the dots, but like on TV, he was not connecting the dots as a character. And here he's like connecting the dots and explaining why he is who he is as a character. And that's like in AEW, especially, it's like a big step forward. I thought throughout the night, like a lot of characters know what they are, know what they're doing, know what they want to do, and they're acting in that way. And just like good booking decisions throughout the show, I thought too. There's one major one where I was like about to really be upset with the show, and then they pivoted strongly. So yeah, I thought it was a combination of good booking, good character work in this opening promo for sure.
Yeah,
I'm curious what you didn't love, because there was nothing that scared me in this.
Well, I just have a feeling they're going down the road of like, because now they're going to be in a tag team.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like AEW's DQ finish.
And I'm just like,
higher trope.
Geez, like the babyface, like can they coexist storyline again? It's like
you're gonna take on Trent Beretta and
it's like
Rocky Romero. You better look out.
Yeah,
it's like, my guys.
Don't just I think you're just fine with just more of what you did to start the show. Like that type of promo, I think, is how you build babyface versus babyface matches, because inevitably when you do the can they coexist storyline with babyfaces, usually both come off very petulant and very whiny and very like unbelievable, because the fans see what's actually happening, right? And they see like, wait, it was an accident that this guy hit that other guy, like, and instead, it's Paige just feeling like Ospreay did it on purpose when it's so obvious that he didn't. And so that's where I mean, that's where they're going. Obviously they're going that way. And I just hope they pump the brakes a little bit with it. I think they found the right formula, and they're about to add too much into it with this tag team thing. I mean, we'll see what they do. I mean, I hope that it would be best for the storyline in my eyes for them to just coexist, destroy whoever it is that Don Callis family puts in front of them, and then just move on. Like, I just think that's better than, forced drama between these two babyfaces. Just let the drama speak for itself. Let the fact that they're two top guys, two top babyfaces speak for itself. They're dominant. They win the match, and then they go on. Like that's how I'd book this. But I think I'm in the wrong on that.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be better if like Paige is taking on, maybe not even Takeshita, because I don't want to like burn losses to him still at this point. But like Trent Beretta and Paige, I mean, your main event this week was which is the dirty secret of Dynamite. The last 2 months is like the main events have been absolute trash stuff. Right. All the good stuff happens in the first hour, and then it kind of falls off a cliff a little bit in the second hour, or at least the last half hour for sure. But you have like Paige and Trent Beretta going at it, and like Will Ospreay comes out and makes the save because he knows what the Don Callis family does. He's interacted with them enough, been on the inside. He saves Paige from a run-in. Paige gets the clean win. And then he's like, the next week, like says like, hey, I want you 100% so I can prove that I'm the best, but I don't want to beat you at 50% because of these clowns. And then there's like mutual respect, but then Paige is like, I don't need your help. You get that whole, like, you still get the, righteous indignation of Adam Page's character, and people can choose what they like. Hey, yeah, like, come on, you can just side, but they're both baby faces trying to do the right thing in their own mind. Something like that, better than just tag matches where, you said if there's a buckshot lariat that hits Ospreay, I mean, that's
and that's my worry. That's my worry. So what do you think? I mean, do you think that this is set up just for that, or do you think that maybe they've recognized the error of their ways in this and will go a different direction? Like what does your gut tell you about where they're like? Am I warranted in my kind of like, oh
Yeah, I'm trying to run through AEW booking recently, last 3 months, let's say. I don't think there's been a ton of like, oh, you hit me, so therefore like I'm pissed at you going on. So I think that's like a positive sign that this is, a WWE match for sure. That's what's happening, right? I think we can 100% confirm that. So I think that tells me that is not a certainty. But it could be. There's certainly going to be some strife as they win. And that could be, if it's not like a move hit incorrectly, it's Paige like walking out of there.
Yeah.
The job is done. And then maybe Ospreay gets jumped and Ospreay's pissed that he didn't like stay back and he got jumped because, Paige left. Something like that. That's like a little more nuanced and fits their characters better. And like you can pick your side on like, well, Paige did get the job done and he's not like married to you. And Ospreay can be like, well, we were a team. Even when the bell rings, like you should like not want to see me get beat down. So something like that I think would be okay. But yeah, I would prefer like both these guys not to wrestle until the pay-per-view, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. More on this in a minute, but let me set the table here for the show. This is the Brass Ring Media Podcast, folks. Thanks so much for joining in. This is our second of 2 shows that we do throughout the week, 2 flagship shows here on the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel. We also have Nocturnal Knockout with Robert. That was yesterday. You can catch that on the channel right now. Also, the Kick-Ash podcast comes to you live on Saturday mornings. All of the Brass Ring Media shows, anytime that we fire up the YouTube channel and go live here, the shows exist here, but also exist as podcasts on our podcast feed. So you can head over to your favorite podcast app and download us. Just search Brass Ring Media. We'll come up and all of our shows will be there as well. So make sure you do that. And if you don't mind, wherever you get your podcasts, if you can give us a 5-star review, that certainly helps us promote. It helps us get into the ears of other wrestling fans. So we thank you in advance for that. We also have a Brass Ring Media newsletter that we write every single day. Something hits there, whether it's a show review or an editorial feature or interview, perhaps. All sorts of different things hit that. It's totally free to subscribe. Another way to consume some of what we're doing here at Brass Ring Media. Finally, you can become a Brass Ring Media member for only $4 a month. And it's right there. Patreon.com/BrassRingMedia is where you can find us. $4 a month gets you access to all the content that we're putting out on a weekly basis. So what does that mean? It means a member-only podcast once a week, sometimes multiple member-only podcasts, which this week is an example of, because I dropped a show for members yesterday on TNA. I watched the TNA Rebellion pay-per-view and had a bunch of thoughts on it, so turn that into a member-only show. That's up there for members right now. We will have our regular member-only show coming up, and then, of course, this weekend, we have a PLE review show for our members with WWE Backlash. All of our pay-per-view and PLE reviews are member-only shows, so you got to be a member to check those out. You also get access to our Discord community and other perks and features. So it's only $4 a month. We feel strongly that we give up some really strong content for that $4 and that we work hard to earn your business. So give us a shot. It's patreon.com/BrassRingMedia. That's how you can do that. Also, want to plug, we now have a Brass Ring Media email address. It's brassrmedia@gmail.com, brassrmedia@gmail.com. And we will be doing mailbag shows and mail-in shows and question shows for members and non-members. So if you want to get any kind of question in at all that you want us to answer, whether it's wrestling related or maybe even something else, like send us an email about it and we'll compile those. And then when we have enough, we'll do a show and just answer email questions all throughout the show. So once again, it's brassrmedia@gmail.com. I'll throw it up on the Twitter account too, so you guys don't have to memorize it, although it's not difficult. As for today, we do have the live chat open. It's a little quiet. right now. That's okay. We're recording at a different time than normal. Also, super chats are open as well. And if you want to get a topic in or pivot the conversation a bit, you can do that with the super chat. And we'll make sure to get to that. Any contribution can help us out a lot. So appreciate you in advance. All right. So you mentioned this at the beginning of the show, and it was in my notes to talk about too. I think that the common sentiment is that Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley is going to be the match that takes place at All In for the AEW World Championship. And you mentioned that, hey, they did a pretty nice job of like trying to convince you anyway that Adam Page might win. And I would just would double down on that praise. I think they did a very nice job with that. Like again, in WWE world, we talked a little bit about this on Tuesday. You don't have babyfaces put out their heart and soul if they're not gonna like make good on it. Like when Jey Uso stands across the ring from Gunther and says, I'm gonna beat you. You're gonna have to say a prayer for what I'm gonna like do to you. Blah blah blah. It kind of gives you a hint that all right, Jay's winning this match because they don't want their baby faces to look weak, to put it all on the line and then not succeed. I don't think that that's a fruitful endeavor because I think you want to sometimes show, what happens when these guys put it all on the line and lose. I mean, that's a very common sentiment in just life in general, sports and otherwise. So I think with Paige putting it all out there, like I was in a dark place and it's because of Swerve Strickland and I finally got past this. And the way that I got past this was to focus on the Owen Hart Cup tournament and All In and the main event and getting back the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Like it focused me. Like when you see a babyface put it on the line like that, like you have to kind of look their way and say, whoa, okay, like that. Okay. They mean business. And so I think that sentiment and putting that type of focus on his journey, like, I don't think it changes the outcome of the match. I still think you're looking at Will Ospreay winning and facing Jon Moxley at All In, but it does make you question it a little bit more, and it does make the match more compelling because it's less certain. And so I give them a lot of credit for green lighting that type of messaging on the part of Adam Page. I thought it was really, really effective.
Mm-hmm. And I do think like of all the times in AEW history, I think this is the most likely that a men's world title match that's not a lights out match will be the last show or last match on the show.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems because, you got what, Joe and Moxley, and that's probably going to turn into, we think that's going to be like Anarchy in the Arena, right? And Moxley's not defending that world title on the show.
I don't think so. I don't think Moxley's defending. I mean, because he's defending it Wednesday.
Yeah.
So unless they run it back quick with Joe, like they don't have time to like set up another opponent.
Yeah, which is good, right? Like, I mean, this should be the main event, and it's being treated like the main event, the way it's positioned on the show.
I agree.
So, like, to put in that work and have it be open-ended is a double bonus for me. It's the best thing going in the company story-wise that builds up your biggest show of all of the year. This is essentially your Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber equivalent here for both these matches. The Mercedes, Jamie Hayter, not as compelling. But, just like there's usually one Royal Rumble match that's more compelling than the other, right?
Yeah.
I think we're in that boat. And like to focus on those matches here in this pay-per-view, I think is a strong way to book the schedule going forward. And everything you're saying too, like, having it be open-ended as a main event and have that 10% doubt that like they could go with Page here. Like Adam Page is a Tony guy.
Yeah.
He's like the last OG guy that has really not had a run that was like detrimental to the company or like, because like, I mean, I guess the Kenny run was not detrimental to the company, but there's still something like off about that era of Kenny, right? He's probably dealing with early stage diverticulitis, so that doesn't help either. But there's always that like feeling too in it. So I think they've done a really good job here, and I'm glad it's not Fletcher Ospreay.
Yeah.
3. That saved that for a later date. So yeah, I've been a big fan of this, and I think consistently Dynamite's been the best wrestling show on television for a couple weeks.
And like last night, I think it was really, you're starting to see a little bit of a formula with it. Like you had, your main event, which was Samoa Joe versus Claudio, like not like a burner of a main event or anything like that, but Joe is a world title challenger, so it makes sense to put him in that slot. And listen, when you can main event, kind of like because I would classify last night's Dynamite as like a C Dynamite, but you can't always have A Dynamites. And so the fact that you can main event a C Dynamite with a world title challenger in a match that's gonna help further a storyline for a big world title match that's going to take place on TV. Like that's what you want. That's what you want to be able to main event shows with those guys. And then you had like your big like flippy match thingy with the Young Bucks and Ricochet, and you had that. You had the promo segment, with that we're talking about right now with Will Ospreay and Adam Page. So it was, and then you had a backstage interview with Jamie Hayter. Like it was pretty balanced in terms of like the types of segments that they used to fill the show, and we're seeing more and more of that formula, I think, and I think it's a good one. I mean, I really think it's a good one. So, thumbs up. We saw an interaction backstage with MJF and Will Ospreay, and I thought that was like one of the best parts of the show. Like I really did. Like Will Ospreay looked like a badass babyface opposite MJF. Like nothing MJF said like phased him. He, got a little like maybe a little bit over dramatic with them talking quietly in each other's faces, but whatever. That's pro wrestling. Are they foreshadowing Will Ospreay's first, title feud here? Is that what this is? Is that what this is about? Is that because the negative part for me on this show too continues to be MJF not in terms of not being entertained by him, but not knowing what the hell to feel about him. And in 1 minute he's getting cheered by the audience for destroying like the poor babyface's top flight and almost joining Hurt Syndicate. And then the next minute, he's acting all menacing and trying to get booed in front of Will Ospreay. So a little bit of confusion there. But to my point, my question is are they trying to just foreshadow and plant seeds for an Ospreay MJF title program coming out of Double or Nothing, or All In?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, right? You could also say it's like a red herring to make you think Ospreay's going to win, and then you have Page go over. It could be like the heel getting dominance over the babyface on the go home segment, which then tells you the opposite's going to happen. So we'll have to see, right? Because this reminds me of Swerve interacting with MJF. That was before Swerve was champion, right? That's a little bit ago, right?
Yeah.
Where it was like the first time, I forget what Swerve was doing exactly at the time. Was he interacting with? Was it all the Page stuff was going on like actively at that time? And then like in the same show where something big happened, he interacted with MJF when MJF was world champion. I think, right? Do I have this right? I don't know if I remember. This seemed like
you have it right. I think you have it. I think that's right.
It seemed like a very pivotal moment in Swerve's career where Tony like agreed he was the top guy and put him in that spot. It reminded me of that, of like, hey, just remember MJF's the top guy. He's interacting with top guys. And yes, this is like, I don't think it would be the first title defense, but setting up a big match down the line and like talking about Wembley, right? Forbidden doors there. Is there even a door to open at this point?
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, literally, who is it? Is it like Tanahashi's last match in not in Japan is probably a big selling point. And then what? Like, who's the champion right now? Goto?
Yeah.
Goto, right? Is he still the champion?
He's still the champion, but I mean, like, I don't think that Hiroki Goto against anybody in AEW is not really, to me, that's not compelling.
Yeah, him against Danny Garcia is not selling tickets or whatever they're going to do.
No.
So it seems
Him
like
versus Will Ospreay's not selling tickets. I don't know.
yeah. So I'm saying like that seems like something you can do at a Forbidden Door at Wembley, sell tickets, big title match. That's more the vibe I got, right? And that's a ways off.
Yeah.
There's like a pay-per-view in between that, I think. So that's like the feeling I got. It's probably just setting you up to like you want to see these guys interact in the near future. Signify MJF is the top guy, even though he's like on a side quest right now, and also could be a red herring. And I think that's like kind of the plan is for all three to be true, depending on the context that you look at it. On that MJF segment, because it's probably the most we're going to talk about it, is right here. Yeah, I mean, if you want to babyface somebody faster, it's stop Top Flight from having a title match on television with.
Exactly.
I was like, what? Who cares? Like, they came out and they were like booked to like expect cheers, and then like the crowd was like not into it at all, and that was like the most like 1995 generic babyface promo of all time by those two. Yeah. I was thinking like, this is like, I guess I can be mean, but we were talking about WWE cuts on Tuesday, and I was like, man, top of the list on AEW cuts are these two. I don't even know what they're making, but they're just like not contributing to the product at all. And then showing like Leo Rush and Action Andretti as well. Yeah, I was like, get all these guys off the screen.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
so yeah, a huge babyface moment for MJF. So it was a strange choice to do that, and I wonder whose idea that was and who approved that, because yeah, it was like a huge. I mean, it's the most babyface he's been since he's come back. Is that moment right there last night, and that crowd was good. There were moments where I was like, "You're not helping the show." Like collectively, like when they're just talking and they're like, "Tell us why, tell us why." It's like, okay, like that's.
Were they chanting "Happy Birthday" at Will Ospreay?
Yeah. So that's like when you're like trying a little too hard as a crowd. I did think the energy was good, but I don't know if Adam was there, our gold member.
Do you think that? I mean, the question about MJF like remains, where it's like, I just think that there has to be a little more focus for what he's trying to do. Like, I don't think and I'll say the same thing that I said last week. I really enjoy the like the way MJF and her syndicate. I keep calling it Hurt Business. Her syndicate, like I enjoy how that story is working off the other. Like, I think it's fresh, and I think it's new, and it just. Every time I see it, I'm like, like I didn't think I'd enjoy this interaction, but I do every single time. But there's still a big hole in this, which is what is the purpose? Like, what is that? Is MJF a snake in the grass? Because Tony Schiavone kind of talked about him that way, where he was kind of arguing with the rest of the announce team and saying like, no, like he's just trying to use Hurt Syndicate to get what he wants, not the other way around. And you had Taz kind of countering him saying, no, like he would be great for this group. And it really doesn't matter because the crowd wants it to happen. So at this point, if the idea is to go with Will Ospreay against MJF at some point again down the road, like I think you have to. I honestly think you have to have the group accept him in, and then MJF deny him like right away. I kind of think like that's
you stole my booking. So congratulations.
I did.
Yeah. I was about to lay it out.
You're stealing my stuff.
Like they all do it, and then Lashley's the last one, and then MJF's like, "Well, hey, I'm a member. Don't I have to vote too?" And he does it, and then goes, small off, and then like low blows MVP, and like hits like a pedigree or something on MVP.
Yes,
it's like definitely. Then it's major heat. Major
heat, and so I hope that like they recognize that. Otherwise, it's kind of like if they don't, you head down a similar path that you did with like MJF and Adam Cole as a babyface, where it's like, it's not the same because I don't think it'll be like goofy, silly, and stupid, but it's just a lack of like finishing the story off that you're trying to tell just because the audience is cheering it. And so I hope they stay the course. I hope they stay with MJF as a heel. He's clearly better in that role. And, the avenue is still there to get him there. So I hope they clean it up.
Here's the vibe I have on MJF currently. To me, he's like AEW's Seth Rollins.
Okay.
Where like I think especially if you like watched at a certain point, watched the rise, knew the talent, all that stuff, you're always going to have like a soft spot for him. But a lot of what he's done for a long time feels like 90% there. It's just like that 10% it's hard to quantify. Even with Seth currently, right? Like Heyman's the best part of that group. And like Heyman was probably the best part of Roman, but like it didn't feel that way. And it's like hard to like put your finger on what that is, right? I feel like with MJF, it's like it's hard for me to put my finger on what is getting him from being like the top guy in the company. Because it's still, I mean, Ospreay, Swerve, probably Page, and then him as like the core top guys that are going to be world champion the next 2 years, right? With like Kenny and Okada being like the legacy, the real legacy acts, not the senior citizen legacy acts that we have multiples of those as well. So, but that's kind of where Seth would fit if you did the ranking of like Roman, Cody, Seth, Punk, right? And Punk being like the Kenny Omega equivalent. It's interesting how just like the structure of both rosters, you can like really compare and contrast pretty.
Yeah. No, it is. And I mean, part of it is still with MJF. I still think that it's two things. I agree with you. But to go deeper on this, two things stand out to me. Number one is I think he's still recovering from what happened in 2023. Like, I mean, genuinely, like that stuff with the title and Adam Cole was so bad and so damaging to everybody and everything that, I don't think you get out from under that overnight. It hurt the company so badly. When you look back and when you read the book on AEW, like that's a moment, just like All Out 2021 was a moment where you're like, damn, this company's on fire. They're going places. Bryan Danielson is here. CM Punk is here. Adam Cole is here. Like, man, it's hot. This will be the counterpoint to that of, dude, what is this now? And MJF is a part of that. So that's one thing. The other thing is, like, I think he still leans into some bad instincts and nobody checks him on it. Where it's like, now again, we don't know how this is going to play out yet. So I'm kind of I'm going this way with my analysis in terms of just assuming that if he joins the Hurt Syndicate and is part of that group, which I don't really think is going to happen, but there was a time in AEW where that would be the case. And I think, MJF, he likes, reactions, and positive or negative. And I think sometimes like he kind of sells out angles in order to get those. And I hopefully he has learned here and just checks it when it's time, when it's time to do it. Because if he turns on Hurt Syndicate, like, my feedback will be, man, that was expert storytelling by AEW, expert storytelling, and an awesome way to get like big time heat on MJF. So if it goes that way, thumbs up. We'll have to wait and see though.
Yeah. And if like, I think there's also room for nuance on that choice too. Like I think MVP joining MJF.
Right. Sure.
Should be a good call because MVP can be a heat magnet for MJF when MJF has bad impulses to like crack jokes. MVP is a guy who's like, hey, we're out here to get heat. I do the talking. I get you heat. Also him turning on Hurt Syndicate. Because like I think Hurt Syndicate can work just as well as a babyface act without MVP for
I agree.
Until they get back together, which would be a great reunion spot too. So
yeah, good point. We got some comments in here in the live chat about this, so we'll get to some of those. Stars, I'm just going to call you Stars, says, I don't understand what they're doing with MJF. The story with Jarrett had legs, only dimes Jarrett has ever drawn, but now they're doing a crappier version of Sammy and the Bloodline. Well, I disagree with the premise on this one. I don't think the Jarrett story had legs, man. Or I just don't. I think that was you want to talk about like MJF leaning into his bad impulses. That's like a perfect example of that. Like lowbrow insults and low hanging fruit, jabs at Jeff Jarrett and meta, like all the things that I would like to see MJF get away from was in that small story with Jarrett. It didn't work. And like AEW doesn't drop much. They don't drop much. They see things to the end for better or worse. And they dropped this thing, like a bad habit, as they say, like nowhere to be seen again. And I'm glad they did this. And, it's similar to Sammy and the Bloodline, but, that's one of the most successful kind of storylines of the last 5 years. So I can't fault them for, seeing that and going, hey, let's try something similar. Tyler?
Yeah. I guess I did compare MJF to Seth Rollins, and if MVP joins him, he's basically as Paul Heyman. So I'm not going to like totally disregard the comparison of like some current WWE storylines going on here, but I don't think it's that Bloodline version, because that's just like a trope of wrestling, right? Trying to join a group. I mean, Ricochet did that too, right? And got denied.
Yeah.
And that was not the same thing either, right? So
I
think it's like a trope in wrestling. You have, there's like 20 stories you can tell essentially. They're all classic Greek plays that are just regurgitated into all of the stories we have today.
Yeah.
So it's the same sort of thing in wrestling, right? There's only a handful of stories you can tell and connotations to tell them. And the way that you build that facade where you don't know it's story 7 of 20, the better. So
yeah. I mean, I think we'll see where this goes, and I think we'll see kind of I think it'll be a big moment, if done right. I think it can be a really substantial moment, not only for the TV show, but for just being able to look at AEW and go, oh, they get it. Like they understand here, or they don't, they missed, either way.
We're talking about it a lot weekly. So I think that's a positive sign for the story where it is. And what did Lashley say? I can't remember. Like next week, he'll give him another approval or disapproval.
Yeah. He didn't, I couldn't catch what he said exactly, but I think the idea was we'll vote again next week.
Yeah. Because it seems like this is set for them not to have a match at Double or Nothing, if I had to guess. And they have a segment where this all comes to a head. And that, because MJF doesn't have a match, certainly, on the books. I don't think they do. And that's like checks the box of the 10-minute segment for all of them is to do this and have a big angle.
Yeah.
And that's good. That would have, classic AEW, that would have been bringing in Josh Alexander and saving his debut until that or something.
Right.
And that's like the big newsworthy item on the show that's not wrestling related or not in match wrestling related. So I like that pivot too of the company of like, hey, we're not just adding some person, we're like have a big segment that gets you to want to buy the pay-per-view beyond wrestling.
Yep. Okay. Then we had a small but important, I don't want to say important, but a small segment, but one that nudged the Mercedes Moné against Jamie Hayter storyline forward. And I don't bring this up because it was like this tremendous angle. I thought it was unique in that like you did this backstage interview, which was interrupted. That's fresh. You don't see that too often. Mm-hmm. So that worked. But what I am complimentary on here is that they're giving like both tournament finals, like, yes, it's the tournament final. A lot of times in AEW, like that has just been the thing where that's it. Like it's just the tournament final and enjoy it because it's the tournament final. That's it. And no added substance or context or sizzle was added to those tournament finals. And here, like in both instances, you're seeing AEW put a conscious effort into, yes, they're tournament finals, but like let's add a little bit of an issue between these two, or let's add a little bit of drama. And I think that's a good thing for your tournament matches. So this wasn't like, again, this wasn't like a great segment or anything between Moné and Hayter, but it did that. It checked that box, and that's just a good sign for like maturity with AEW's presentation and AEW's booking.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, I like it helps you be engaged. It's like, I guess, when's the last time a match ended during the picture-in-picture when there was a picture-in-picture, right? I think a Ruby Soho.
Yeah, that sounds
like
right.
2019, maybe.
Yeah, a long time ago.
But, you know, that is like there. This is also like, hey, keep engaged with these backstage segments because it could spill into the crowd if you're watching their
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's like a nice thing to hit there. And yeah, like Jamie's promo, I thought left a lot to be desired. Like it was just like vanilla as all get out. Of like, it's weird to be like, you've been world champion and Mercedes is not in this company, and to not like, I would totally have hit that way harder if I'm like,
good point,
coaching her, as opposed to like, well, I don't have all the accolades and I'm not a star and whatever, but I have heart. You know, I don't know. That was just like a lot to be desired. Also, not loving the like boho mod attire, aka Austin Powers look for Jamie.
Yeah, she kind of had like a badass look, like her first run, and this one has kind of been like,
yeah. So that was like part of it too. You know, like she was a big star, and yeah, you go away, and it's tough to get that back. Obviously, being paired with Britt Baker and never really doing that blow off too, I think hurt her.
Yeah,
that's like, I think the legacy of Britt obviously is negative overall, but to not do what like Tony did for Mariah May on the way out, like if you're Britt, you should like have totally, if you could have, right? I mean, obviously if there's like irreconcilable differences between you and Tony, but like that would have been good for your friend to do that. So.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned something at the top of the show that irked you. What have we gotten to that yet?
I said something.
Yeah, you were like, there was one booking thing that had.
Oh, well, then they switched it. It was Top Flight coming out.
Okay.
And I was like, and they saved it by having MJF. I mean, for me, like it was a big pop, big babyface moment for MJF. Yeah. But yeah, that was just like, what are we doing here? Like when I'm watching it, I'm like, everything's flowing good. Even like the multi-person matches, like they're fun. I get them. Like, do I really care about the result? Not really, but I'm enjoying watching this. But yeah, Top Flight coming out and saying like, Detroit or, you know, whatever, Motor City, come on. Like, you don't even know the name of the city you're in, basically. It felt very like worst era of AEW until MJF just beat them down and tossed them aside. So that was the like juxtaposition of like, what the hell is going on here versus, okay, this is like not the point. These guys are literally Dark Order fighting the Death Riders.
And I would just say too, like Top Flight, you know, in addition to just being the wrong fit for that spot, they were terrible in execution. Like they just were brutal. Like I kind of felt bad for them. I'm like, oh my God, neither one of you like talking at all. And you can totally tell, and there's no oomph behind it. It just was like, oh man, this is bad.
That crowd was eating everything up, and they were like, there's one guy going like, yeah, underdogs, basically. Like,
yeah, right.
It was really tough. And like Rhino being there was whatever. I guess that was the most whatever thing. I mean, I get why they did that, but I don't really care about Nick Wayne or any of that story going on.
Right. And Rhino I thought looked bad too. Like it was.
Yeah, I mean, Rhino's got to be like 55, right?
Oh, yeah. And he was, I don't know. To me, he was just never that compelling. Like never that good. I know he gets kind of some legend pops on the indies and stuff like that, but I'm good if I don't see Rhino anymore.
He's only 49, so
wow.
Rhino's a pretty rough 49.
He is.
We got a quiz for you.
Shoot.
So the Max thumbnail for AEW Dynamite changed. We did this before. I don't know. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, but I know who's not on it.
Okay. Who's not on it?
Well, they took Mariah May off, from what I understand.
Yeah. Was she on it before? I guess she was champion when that last one.
Yeah, she was on. Yeah.
So yeah, there's five people still.
Okay.
So can you guess the five?
Let's see. All right, so 5 people. Mercedes Moné.
Correct.
Swerve.
Correct.
Will Ospreay.
Correct.
Mox.
Nope.
All right, I have Moné, Swerve, Ospreay. Right.
You have one more woman, one more man.
Tony Storm.
Correct.
And
It's a tough one.
Hangman.
Nope.
Ooh. Jericho?
Nope. That'd be crazy. Another guy from Winnipeg, though.
Oh, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like let's look at this for a minute. So you've got Legacy and Kenny, right?
Yeah. These are CM Punk.
Yeah, you got Swerve and Ospreay. He's your current like top men, and then your
Roman and Cody.
Yeah.
And then you got the two women. You got Rhea Ripley. You got
Charlotte or something.
Yeah. Stronger on the women's side for AEW.
Charlotte, if Triple H is making the poster.
If we talk about all the good stuff, the Hangman not there, MJF not there, is a choice, right? To have Swerve and to have Will Ospreay, and to have Kenny there instead of other people, I think is also a blatant choice as well. So,
but honestly, like, I think that's appropriate. Like, I think that's an appropriate five,
right? Five,
lead five.
Yeah.
Like it checks all the boxes of what you want. You want your legacy guys, you want your top guys, you want your top women.
Yep.
Boom. There you go.
Yep.
So, and the thing is, here's the other thing too, man. Like when you watch the shows, they feel like they're booked that way. They feel like they're booked with like those five in mind. They're not always on every show, but when you look forward to the pay-per-view, right? Or All In, let's say, the biggest show of the year, all five of those people are going to have significant roles like in that show. Two of them are going to wrestle each other, most likely. So I think that's good. It shows that like Tony Khan knows who his top people are, and they're in important stuff that are going to impact the company, and that's what you need your top guys to do. So that's nice to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not Danny Garcia, Adam Cole, Sammy Guevara, Chris Statlander. Yeah, there's a world where I could see like them being on this thing and be like, what is going on?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
or even like the Young Bucks. It's like nah.
Or FTR. Like I like what FTR is doing, but like they should not be, on here. They're the Judgment Day. They're like fun TV time fillers.
Yeah, right. And it's important to have that spot on the show, but that's not the guy you put. Those aren't the guys you put in your market.
The Young Bucks are what? What's the WWE equivalent of Young Bucks? This is a fun thing. A-Town Down?
New Day.
A-Town Down Under?
I would say more New Day. But A-Town Down Under, that's cold. That is cold. And I'm not the biggest Young Bucks fan in the world, but even for me, that's cool.
They are in fact cold, so I will take that.
Yes, they are. Oh, man. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to go record our member-only show. So if you want to hear that, patreon.com/Brass Media. We've got that member-only show coming. And then this weekend, we will be dropping our Backlash review that you can check out as well. So try out our membership. Give it a go. Patreon.com/Brass Media. Thanks so much to Stars, and thanks so much to Jigsaw, and thanks so much to Derek Mitchell. Derek, good to see you in the live chat. Thanks for joining us live and contributing there. I appreciate it. Let's just do Derek's question here. We'll finish on this note. Derek says here, could next week's MJF vote with the Hurt Syndicate turn out to be the debut of Cedric Alexander after his 90-day release? Keep in mind, his wife, Big Swole, left AEW not on good terms. Yeah, I mean, I think Cedric Alexander could very much be a part of this at some point. I don't think his Big Swole's relationship will or should matter that much with AEW. Like, if you're AEW, you do the business that you want to do. And, I think Cedric Alexander, and Big Swole for that matter would be fine with, joining given what happened. And for all we know, that may have blown over by now.
Yeah. Paycheck's paycheck.
Paycheck's paycheck. Right. Right. And it beats working and grinding on the indies if you're Cedric.
Yeah. I would vote. I would say this probably does not happen. Just the way that Tony seems to have shortened the guys he is focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Cedric long term beyond the story is a guy he would like focus on. But what would he be in AEW? He's like probably a gatekeep job guy, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, he's not coming in and being anything. No.
Yeah. So it's like I don't know if Tony needs to add more of those guys in his mind, right? So that would be like where I would think that wouldn't happen. But yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Like Ricochet looked like he was on that path, and when he interacted with Syndicate, I think he's done a lot of work, and Cedric can work, so that does help in the AEW context.
For sure. Yeah, the bottom line, I just don't think if he doesn't join the company, it won't be because of Big Swole. Like it'll just be
correct. I would agree with that. On both sides.
On both sides, yeah. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for joining. And hopefully, you check out our show. Check out our membership tiers. We'd love to have you. We did a full Backlash preview on Tuesday night for Tuesday night's show. So if you want to get ready for Backlash this weekend, check it out. We went through every single match, previewed, predictions, analysis on each one. So you can check that out right now. It's in the archives and on the podcast feed. So go. Thank you in advance, or not in advance. Thank you for listening and for watching. Make sure that you are locked in for Saturday morning. The Kick-Ass podcast with Ashley will be here live, 10 a.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss that. Nobody's doing what Ashley's doing out there. Her show is really special. So if you've missed it or you haven't listened to it yet or haven't watched it yet, make sure you do. You'll be glad. For Tyler, I am Zach, and we'll catch you guys next time. Have a wonderful Thursday. See you.
See you guys.